Welcome back, Sports with Mono and Mono. It's October 18th, 2025. And of course, I'm here with Elijah Weintraub, my co-host. Eli, how you doing this week?
I am doing great. It's another busy weekend of sports, which had a big finish last
Yes.
night in the MLB series. We got a great weather ahead, and we have another great week to be talking football and much more ahead.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Right into it, of course. It's always sponsored our monologue by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. Okay, Eli. So I have to say I couldn't be less excited about the start of the NBA season, which is coming up very shortly. And like I said, the whole topic is going to be, LeBron James playing in his 23rd season. Nobody's ever done it. But I can't really get about these guys make $40 million a year, and they don't really care about the regular season. But it actually took me a few minutes. So I can't even remember who won the championship last year, and it was Oklahoma City, right? I do
I
admire
know.
the athleticism of these guys, but it's really just a 3 point contest. The regular season doesn't mean anything. The in season tournament is is basically a joke. Doesn't mean anything except more money for the players. I don't know what to say, Eli. I'm going to make a statement here that like actually I think the WNBA was even more exciting than the NBA, and I can't I can't
This is the
I
first from
can't
Jim who
see
complained about
myself
the WNBA
watching.
all season.
I know, but that's now you know how about the NBA. It really, like I said, the regular season, and we have baseball, we have college football, we have the NFL, and this is, that's a full slate of sports that we're going to dive into and talk about extensively over the next 2 3 months. So there's really no room for me from the NBA, and I know people like the NBA. I do like the playoffs, but I can't get excited about the regular season. The NBA. So what do you think? Are you excited about the start of the NBA season?
Believe it or not, I am excited for two things. Well, I'm excited for the return of the NBA back on NBC and the return of Round Ball Rock, the iconic music for NBC. It was a big part of the NBA back in the day when NBC had the rights to it and stuff. Now it's going to be a new change, new environment. Now it's on NBC. Does that increase the viewership? Now it's on a national channel on most nights, including Tuesdays, which is pretty big for the NBA. It wasn't on like TNT, which is like a cable channel, which not everyone had compared to like a channel like NBC. And I'm also excited for the return of Inside the NBA, which of course the iconic pregame and postgame show. They're moving to ESPN now, so they're going to be on for a couple times in this month of October before they come back in Christmas to do the Christmas shows and stuff. So I'm excited to see in those two aspects the return of the NBA in that perspective. And I'm also curious to see how the season turns out. And of course, LeBron James, he's not supposed to. I think he won't be playing the first game, if I'm not mistaken, due to an injury, if I'm not mistaken. So if that is, how it stands and everything, nothing new. I mean, everybody gets injured, and that's just part of the NBA. You're going to see these guys be out games and not be playing, or even sitting on the bench
Yep,
for so many games. That's just how the
yep.
NBA is lately. But I'm believing it or not, I'm a little excited to see how the season unfolds. But I do have to say, I'm a little bit more excited though for the NHL versus the NBA. But I am excited though.
Okay. So listen, that being said, let's move right on to Major League Baseball because from a New York perspective, the Mets didn't make it. The Yankees got knocked out, and we had really two good series. Toronto was down 2 games to none. They rallied back, tied at 2-2, and now Seattle takes a 3-2 lead in that postseason series, which has been very exciting.
Oh yes,
The big dumper's been hitting home runs, and Julio Rodriguez has been um,
he's been doing good.
back in what we expected him to be 3 years ago. So that's been exciting. And then in the National League, Eli, we had a game that is one of the best performances in playoff history. And when I saw what he did last night, pitched 6 innings, struck out 10 batters, and hit not one, not two, but 3 home runs. So from a dominating single game perspective, this is probably the only other one I can compare it to, um, outside of maybe Don Larson's perfect game in 1956, was Reggie Jackson hitting 3 home runs against the Dodgers in the 77 World Series, which was one of my favorite sports moments of all time.
Of
But
course.
how could you deny this guy Ohtani and the dominance that he showed last night?
I mean, Otani is the great, and to be quite honest with you, they swept the Brewers. And you know what that tells me, Jim? As they head to the World Series now, they are the team to beat. No matter who wins Seattle Toronto series, they're going to be pushing hard. They're going to be playing hard. And as long as that Shohei Otani guy stays healthy and keeps doing what he's doing, the Dodgers are going to win another World Series. And that is just the bottom line.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. They look like the heavy favorites. And I'm very curious to see what happens down in the Toronto Seattle side of things. I mean, I have a feeling Toronto's going to force a game 7 and come back and win this thing. I have a good feeling about
I
this.
agree.
I mean,
I
they are
agree.
home. They are home for the next 2 games, whether or not if they do winner tonight or not. And I just think that Toronto's got this talent that, with Guerrero Jr. and a lot of these guys, I think Toronto's going to come out and win this series, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a bold statement, but you know what? I don't know that I could disagree with you because they do have a lineup with Guerrero and Springer. Although Springer got hit by a pitch, I don't know what his status is going to be for Game 6.
Right.
But yeah, that's been a pretty good series. And like I said, you're right on the home front. And a lot of people will say, well, the Dodgers have the highest payroll and all that, but we know that doesn't really mean anything. And you could reference the New York Mets. They went out and spent $750 million on Soto, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
I
So
know.
payroll doesn't guarantee championships, but right now, we knew the Achilles heel for the Dodgers was going to be their bullpen, and they've come through. So good teams come through when it matters, and they actually came through. And having the best player in baseball on that kind of performance was amazing. Really
Well, like we said,
outstanding.
we kind of expected though for the Soto not to be to play as great because there's always that, like, you could call it a curse pretty much whenever you become the highest paid, no matter what league it is, whether it's the MLB or even the NFL. If you're the highest paid, it either comes with a curse. Either you're getting injured and there's you face the injury time, or you just don't play well, and
Yeah.
just it backlashes on your team. And we got option 2, which is backlash on your team because it didn't work out, and it showed this Mets season that it wasn't the best decision, and the Mets didn't play as well either. Not just on the Soto side of things too.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I've discussed this with several knowledgeable sports fans, and if we have an all West Coast World Series with Seattle and the Dodgers, that kind of affects the programming, and that means later games for the fans, right? Because
Well, I
they'll
don't think that
probably be
affects anything. I think that'll be just it will either be the 8 o'clock or the 9 o'clock as it usually is. I don't think that the MLB is going to push it back any further. And to
Oh
be honest
no,
with
I
you,
don't mean that. Yeah, I don't mean they're going to push it back, but yeah, a 9 o'clock start is for the East Coast a little bit late. You know?
which is understood, but for the World Series though, it's always a late start. No matter, even if the Yankees were in it, no matter who it was always an 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock start. But because it's baseball and because it's the World Series, no one really seemed to care what time it was. I mean, look
Yeah,
at last year with Dodgers and the Yankees. There were start times at 9 o'clock, 8:30, 8 o'clock. We really were all over the place, and the games are in New York too.
yeah.
So it's just how
Um,
it is.
okay, so we still got this to be decided. Who's going to face the Dodgers? A couple other quick notes I wanted to mention as far as like Alex Bregman opts out of the 2 years, $80 million he has remaining on his contract. And I was thinking about it, going, wait a minute. Does he think he's actually going to go out there and get a contract for 3 years for another 120
Yes.
million? I don't know. I mean, not with those kind of numbers, but He's rolling the dice. Maybe he's not happy in Boston, even though Boston, I think, once they come back with Roman Anthony and some of their other players, that remains to be seen. So that was kind of notable. And we talked last week. We came up with our new segment, Keep Them In, Kick Them Out.
Keep them out.
And we
Yeah.
talked about Aaron Boone. But Brian Cashman is steadfast in his position that Aaron Boone is the right guy. So he will be returning.
I don't know. I
as
don't know.
manager.
I mean,
And right away, we're also seeing, right? Volpe had surgery. Now Rodon had surgery. So neither one of them are going to be ready for opening day. So what happens in the offseason? You know, the Yankees obviously need to revamp that lineup if they're going to be competitive. So, yeah, that lot of moving parts in baseball as we wind down, and
yes,
as we
there is.
right. So we'll talk about this next week. We'll have some updates on the World Series. Right, I probably starts
The World Series is on Friday.
maybe Wednesday next
World
week.
Series is Friday.
Friday. Okay. Yep. So baseball has been very, very exciting, actually. And, you know, just because the Yankees aren't in, it doesn't mean, but the Freemans and the Otanis and the big dumper and Rodriguez. So
It's great.
Guerrero.
It really
It's
is
been an
perfect time.
exciting playoffs. And I know from a
by the way,
Milwaukee Brewers fan, I have a guy.
No, go ahead. Finish up. Go ahead.
No, because I have one of our loyal listeners is a diehard Brewers fan, and they, you know, we talk about the Jets in football, same old Jets. Well, you could say same old Brewers.
Yeah, it is true. And as a
Yep.
reminder, the game for the Toronto-Seattle will be tomorrow night at 8:03 on FS1. And if necessary, a Game 7 would be on Monday. The World Series begins on Friday over in the MLB.
Good. Okay. So
Let's
Eli,
go to college football.
Yes, and let's kind of recap what took place last week in college football, because this is actually one of the better weeks. There's a lot of big marquee games, but
There is.
you know, let's talk about from a last week perspective. You know, Texas beat Oklahoma, and I've been pretty good on my college football picks, by the way.
But at least that was good. So hopefully, stick with that. I'll
Right.
take the NFL for you.
Right. So we had USC beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Wasn't a surprise to one of our loyal listeners, Kenny, who's very astute at picking college football as well. Alabama beat Missouri, which we kind of expected, and that moves
Right.
Ty Simpson into the lead after a kind of a poor performance for Dante Moore as Oregon got beat. Let's see, and we talked about it. So listen, we got to give ourselves some credit here to keep them in, kick them out. And James Franklin was on that list. And
We
James
expected
Franklin,
that.
but he got fired in the middle of the season. But you know
We
what?
was expected.
No sympathy here because he walks away with $49 million
Only.
to not coach Penn State.
Only. Keep that in mind. Only.
Um,
and you know what? Penn State also lost on top of coach. They also lost their
conversations
quarterback.
we thought we might have a believer. I know. But when we think about one of the games that was really a marquee game for me to watch, and it was the first time I really had a chance to watch Indiana, and they really made a believer out of me. They're a really good team, and they signed Kurt Signetti to a 8-year, $90 million contract. Say he's not going anywhere, and we could see a new shift in power. It's not just going to be the Ohio States and the Michigans. Now you have Indiana as a formidable player in that Big Ten conference. Great for college football.
It is great for college football, and I think Indiana, if they keep on winning these games, they won that big game last week versus Oregon. If they can continue winning games, they're the heavy favorites, in my opinion, to win the national championship. It's a bold take. but I think they have it. They've got potential. If they could beat Oregon, they got potential.
Okay, well, let's talk about this week. And we got some, like I said, this is really one of the great college football weekends matchups with Ole Miss at Georgia. And, a lot of people, are not giving them their due. People are saying, is Ole Miss for real? Or they just kind of, but yeah, they are for real. And that should be an absolutely great game today. I do think Georgia will take it, but we'll see about that. And we got some other great games. We have Tennessee, Alabama, right? Another great football game. We have USC, Notre Dame, and
That's a good
that's
one.
one for the yeah, that's a great one because of the history of those two schools. And USC is better than I thought. So that's going to be a
Really
battle.
good game.
Yeah, I actually, I can't say I'm 100% sold on Notre Dame just yet.
That's
But
fair.
if they could win this game, then they have an easier path and they should make the playoffs. Um, but we also have Missouri, who had a big win last week. Oh no, last week we had.
No.
I get
Take a
that
look for you.
wrong. Yeah. So and LSU Vanderbilt. Now that's another good game.
That's
And
a
as
good
you
one.
know, I haven't been
Missouri lost to
completely.
Alabama.
Yeah, but LSU and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt could actually win that football game. They're playing at
That's a
home
good
down
one.
in Nashville. And here's a game, Eli. We talk about our local team, Rutgers, and they got a big game against Oregon tonight
Yes, they do.
at home. So we're going to see.
I think
We've
Oregon
talked
takes
time.
it though.
Yeah, we talk time and time again. Is Rutgers deservedly being in the conference with these powerhouse teams? And if Chiano can pull this upset off, which I agree with you. I don't think they can. Um, we're going to find out, right? So look at
I agree.
look at the games
But
that we have. It couldn't be more exciting. And let's go back to last night as Louisville beats Miami. And we've been
that was
talking
big.
about Carson Beck was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Well, you could take him out of the running last night. He threw 4 interceptions and a major upset down in Miami. And Minnesota goes into Nebraska and wins. I
I
mean, so
know.
college football is kind of
It's
wide
something
open right now.
special. It really is something special, and you couldn't ask for like a better
Yeah,
time right now
no,
to
it's
watch this
absolutely
game.
awesome to see. Yeah, so this has been a great college football season so far. It's kind of wide open, and we see some schools that we don't normally see in the top 10, like an Ole
Right.
Miss. But this has been very exciting, and it should be a great week for college football. And
No question.
I am now pulling, right? We have Tom Pugh, we have Derek Krug, our diehard Hoosier fans, but I think they're in a pretty good position, and Mendoza is rapidly climbing to potentially be one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks picked in the upcoming draft in April.
Oh yeah. And I want to go back to Rutgers and your statement there about are they deserving to be in the Big Ten and stuff. Well, in my opinion, if they want to have a shot at going into playoffs to get qualified for these bowl games, to get qualified for standings, to get qualified for a lot of things, they have to stay in the Big Ten because there's no step further up for Rutgers. It would be a step down, in my opinion. So I think they have to stay um, in the Big Ten where they are. And if they go down, I think it's just going to hurt rather than help in Rutgers' favor, in my opinion. I think we may have lost you, Jim, there for a second. You back there?
Huh? We're going to find out.
Well, so Jim, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. So we appear to have technical issues right now. We're trying to see.
Yeah. Well, we're going
Hopefully,
to.
Jim can get back in a second. We apologize as always for the issues.
Yeah, we got to talk to our producer behind the scenes, Rob. So,
Yeah.
Rob, help us out here. What's going on? Anyway,
Uh, we have a comment from
I
Brandon though. In the meantime,
let's
Rutgers NIL efforts are non-competitive. Brandon says.
well. I mean, we know that this nil is very sports, and you could look at Indiana right off the bat, but it's crazy that we have to talk about this, about who has this much money, and probably nobody has more money, right? Than Oregon
Yeah.
being funded by you know unlimited funds, and they're paying guys, but Dante Moore didn't play. He was the leading high front runner for a while, and he got humbled. So wide open in college football. I'm very excited to watch it.
All right. Well, let's go now to the NFL where we had our first coaching firing of the season with Brian Callahan and the Titans, who got fired by the Titans this week. So that changes the game. And
Yep.
it was just another week of NFL football with you could say maybe it surprised me with the Buffalo Bills losing, but other than that, nothing super extreme or out of the bloom craziness as you could say that happened last week. Other than that big loss there from Buffalo. Another typical weekend football. And for injury wise, yeah, Puka Nakua out for the Rams this week, which is a big loss as they are in London taking on the Jaguars. For the 49ers, Fred Warner is out for the rest of the season due to a dislocated ankle. And we learned this week that Eagles pass rusher Zadarius Smith announced his retirement after 11 seasons in the NFL. So that's just some of the big news headlines this week in the NFL.
Yep. And I know you want to jump right into
Well, we're gonna
the
get that.
results last week,
We'll get
even
that when
though
we make our picks.
okay.
Any other news you want to
Um,
bring up or talk about before the picks?
no, we'll get to it. I got a random point that I want to bring up relating kind of to the NFL, former player.
All right. So then with that,
It's,
let's take a look at the chart then. Everybody's been dying to see it. That's why they came to the show. That's why we have a lot of viewers. And here we go, folks. There's your scores. So 14-6 is where I stand. Jim at 9-11. So we are Jim, you're making some comeback. You're getting close up the ladder. We both went 3-0 last week. So we both did very good.
yep.
So the question, oh, there's a confetti. So the question is, what happens next? Who continues to hold on to the crown? Will it be me still? We'll find out soon. Hopefully, I will keep
All
it at
right.
least 2 more weeks, but depends on these games.
All right. So why don't you start this week with your picks?
All right, let's go ahead into it. We got to start off with the Giants and the Broncos now because we had a similar game. I had to pick the Giants and the Broncos. I really like this matchup, but you know what happened last week? The Broncos went into London to play the Jets. They won, but they only won 13-11. Then you have the Giants, Thursday Night Football. Well, they destroyed the Philadelphia Eagles, and you have two guys named Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart, who are your ultimate saviors for this New York Giants team. So can they do it again when they travel to Denver? I think they can. So for my upset pick of the week, give me the New York Football Giants 26-24 to take down the Denver Broncos.
Wow. Wow. That's a surprise to me, but I like it. And yeah, I think it's going to be a competitive game. Um, a lot of people said, can they go into Denver? Well, yeah, I think they can. I don't think Denver has a great offense. A lot of people say it's their defense that's been carrying them, but that's a big upset there.
There it is.
Good for you.
My next pick. Well, good luck on that one. Colts Chargers. That's on CBS at 4 o'clock, along with the Giants and the Broncos. Well, the Colts are just too good of a football team, and I think that they are. Right now they're in first place. They're right now the best team right now in the AFC, and there's no question about it. And I'm for those reasons, give me the Indianapolis Colts 26-23 to win that game. There's no question about it.
Wow.
Buccaneers Lions Monday Night Football 7 o'clock on ABC and ESPN. Yeah, no, the Lions, no, they lost last week to the Chiefs. There is no way they're losing again. There is no way that they're going to win this week. This Buccaneers team is too good. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-32. So my picks this week are Giants, Colts, and Tampa Bay.
Okay. I think I can make some ground up here this
Well, I
week.
don't know about that, but let's go to some comments though first. Brandon says, "How about the Giants Broncos game? Huge Giant game for the first time in a while. A win does so much for the future of this franchise and puts them in a meaningful spot at the end of October."
Yeah. And Brendan, I think you're right. It is actually a meaningful game for the Giants, which we haven't been able to say for quite some time. Um, Yeah, so like I said, if they just even be respectable and hold their own and um, give a competitive effort, then I think you know that's almost a win for the Giants going forward. Meaning they're really focused now with Jackson Dart and Scatterboo. They have some question marks at the wide receiver position, so it's great for us because it's a 4 o'clock game this week. So we get to
The
watch the
Jets lose,
Giants and
and then
and the
watch the
Jets
Giants.
will lose.
Uh,
Yeah, I think we could all concede that the Jets are just sinking faster than the Titanic.
I
That's
was
for
just
sure.
gonna say that. I was just gonna say about the Titanic.
All right, so I got 3 picks here.
Go ahead.
And one of the same games, Tampa Bay, Detroit. Um, I don't know if Mike Evans is back, and yes, I have been very very impressed with Baker Mayfield, and he's really turned his career around and made himself one of the elite quarterbacks, at least for this season. So I'm actually going to take Detroit. Detroit at home.
Ooh.
I know that's kind of my upset special here, but I think Detroit is really too good of a team to win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I don't know if it's an upset because they're two evenly matched teams, but that's what I'm taking. And
Well,
I'm
believe it or
also
not, though,
taking,
the Lions are favored for that game. I believe 5.5 is the point spread, and Detroit is favored. I mean, 5.5
right.
is always that risky number in the NFL, but they are favored though. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't really care much about the point spreads, but
I know.
I think
I had
they're
to bring it up
evenly
for our loyal
matched teams.
listeners. Yeah.
And we got the Rams and Jags. Now, this is the one in London.
Yep. Our final London game this year.
Okay. Um, and I know everybody's been getting on the Jags bandwagon, and I'm still not a believer in Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to take the Rams in an upset over the Jags in London this week.
See, I think about
I
that
think
game though.
Matthew Stafford.
You have no
Huh?
Puka Nakua, and you have this Jaguars team who seems to be pretty good despite their loss last week with Seattle. This is a team to watch out
Mm-hmm.
for, I think, in my opinion. And remember, Jaguars are always do play well and better when they are in London. So keep that in mind. They always do tend to find those wins when they're overseas versus when this in the States.
Yeah, and they seem to be overseas more than any other team in the league.
That
I
is
don't
correct because
know.
I think they have some partnership, I think, or something like that. But yeah, but that's
All
a
right.
bold pick though, taking the Rams though.
All right. I have another game. And like I said, a lot of people have been writing Kansas City off, but all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes, and they got too much talent on that team. They're getting Rice back. So I like them to beat the Las Vegas Raiders because your old quarterback, Geno Smith, is not,
Well, we
I'm
know
not a
he's not
big
supposed to be
fan
the
of his.
quarterback anymore. Yeah, I know. Well, that's why
Um,
Seattle got rid of him.
so there's my picks. I'm taking Detroit, the Rams, and Kansas City, and fully expect to make ground on our
I
little
fully
warm
expect to
battle.
keep on the crown, if potentially even go further in the list. And as always, Jim, I don't wish you the best of luck. But as always, we'll see what happens. And I just want to make up one more note before we get off the NFL. I want to say, though, I'm a little tired of this 10 o'clock NFL Monday night games. Can we just stick to either 7 or 8 o'clock? I mean, 10 o'clock for Seattle Texans is a little annoying. I mean,
Yeah,
Houston's on 9 p.m. when that game will air. Seattle doesn't affect them because they're on the Pacific time. They're at 7 o'clock. But Houston, it's 9 o'clock when that game happens. For us on the East Coast, it's 10 p.m. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, yeah, it's great for the West Coast. It makes up for all the international games that they have to wake up for at 9:30 in the morning. But still, it's a little
you're
annoying
right.
for us on the East Coast, and even for Houston, which is a 9 o'clock time zone, not exactly a 7 o'clock or even 8 o'clock time zone. So let's just keep that in mind as well.
That's a good point. I like it, and I completely agree. Just for a game to start at 10 o'clock on the East, who could stay up for it? Although there was a really, really good game with two 40-year-old quarterbacks, Flacco, who I'm not a believer in. He comes in, he wins a couple of games, and then he'll go back to being Joe Flacco. So
Which is
I don't think,
usual.
right. But this is, what? This is a good thing because I think every week that goes by means it's a week that um, Joe Burrow gets back and healthy. So if they could just keep if he could just hang on in there and go 500, I think while when Burrow comes back the other night was almost historic. It was great.
Absolutely. No question. With that, let's go down to some random points, and that's gonna be sponsored by Lynch Toyota, Manchester, Connecticut. And I'll kick things off.
Yep.
Um, so we'll start off
Go
with
ahead.
this. Noah Eagle, son of Iron Eagle, was on the Dan Patrick show yesterday and shared details that it said that Iron Eagle never usually calls baseball games and was actually offered a job to call a set of New York Mets games. But according to Noah, who was on the show, he said Ian's wife, which is Noah's mother, turned down the offer so they can grow as a family, which was something interesting. So they decided to grow as a family, and so Ian is not doing baseball games for those reasons. And this was back when Ian was young. And for those interested in knowing, Noah Eagle has a busy schedule on his plate. He'll have the Notre Dame game tonight, and then he'll be calling the Tuesday opening night game for the NBA when it returns to NBC. So that is pretty exciting for him.
Okay.
Bob Myers is leaving his NBA on ESPN role to become president of sports for Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. So that's what he will
Yeah,
be
he was
doing.
the former GM for the Warriors.
Warriors, yep. And then he goes to ESPN, and now he's off to this entertainment company and sports company.
Oh, the guy,
And
give the guy credit. He's kind of he's
like an
very
entrepreneur businessman.
knowledgeable, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, he doesn't want to sit in the studio and just talk about
Well, now
games.
that
But
Inside the NBA is back, I mean, what is he going to do? Like maybe 25 games, maybe at most? Not even. You don't get postseason either, so might as well take it and leave.
right, you got it.
Speaking of ESPN, though, Apple TV will be replacing ESPN's current package for Formula One racing. Apple TV just signed a 5-year deal to take over the Formula One rights. That will go into effect very soon. So there goes the end of ESPN and Formula One. It'll be back to streaming and over on Apple TV Plus.
Well, I brought this up last week. I know it's kind of for people that love racing and so forth, but I just can't get into it. So for me, them leaving ESPN and going to streaming, I think is only going to hurt their viewership.
I agree with that one. I mean, look at the MLS; it hurted them too.
Yep.
All right, we go to this now. Knicks guard Malcolm Brogdon has retired from basketball. He played 9 seasons in the NBA. And speaking of retirements, 2-time FIFA World Cup champion Kristen Press is retiring following the conclusion of her Angel City NWSL season run. She did play with the FIFA and the U.S. team,
Yep.
so she is retiring. And finally,
Okay.
SNL is all new tonight with host and musical guest Sabrina Carpenter. So that is something very interesting and fun to watch tonight on NBC.
Okay. I got just a couple of random points. One of them is again the NBA, and we're recycling like Russell Westbrook. Now goes to the Kings. So we're seeing these guys, and this is where the NBA is missing the mark. right? He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But at this point, 36 years old, his production's been declining. We see it with Chris Paul and these older guys hanging on, and yet you have these young kids like Anthony Edwards and Shea Gilgis Alexander's. There's got to be somebody in there. But if these teams are willing to pay Russell Westbrook to score 8 points a game, then to me it doesn't make any sense, and that's what makes me a little bit leery about spending time watching the NBA. I don't understand it.
Fair enough.
Yep. Here's an interesting thing, and former Jets center, Ohio State graduate Nick Mangold, um, put out some sort of a statement the other day. He's had kidney disease for years, and now he's in need for a liver or a kidney transplant. And he put it out there to Jet fans and to the Ohio State community. So, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think so. But you know what? He played 11 solid years with a terrible Jets team. And you know what? Give your support if you're a match and you feel like giving up a knee. Reach out to him. He's got a website, and we wish the best for
Absolutely.
him. I really wish the best.
We do.
And Eli, I got one more random point of interest, and it's not random to me. And this is why we're doing an early version of the show today, because we have a bench dedication from my little brother Steven this week in Oakland, where we grew up and where he established himself as one of the best Oakland athletes of all time. And I'm very, very excited. And I thought it was going to be a little small event, but the support that has rallied around this effort, and I want to give credit to the Oakland Recreation Commission for sponsoring this, and I'm going to meet them in person just right after the show. But this is a very, like I said, Eli, the show title right now is Sports with Mono and Mono. It's at some point be Sports with Mono and Eli, because you've earned that right. You got a lot of respect from our loyal listeners.
I
But,
appreciate it.
it's very, very special to me. This is kind of a chapter, you can never get over the loss, but to have something permanently fixed at the place where we grew up, and I told you we were fortunate enough to have that opportunity to grow up in Oakland, and a lot of his former and friends are going to be there today. So it's a very bittersweet day for me, but I'm very excited that he will have a permanent marker in Oakland. Well deserved. It's a great location, and that takes place at 10 o'clock this morning in Oakland. And hopefully, I'll have some pictures and maybe a little bit of some video for next week's show. But it's very
Well, that is
special.
great. And that is awesome. And once again, if you guys are in the area and you guys are going out, feel free to show support for Jim and for everybody. And again, I send my best and hope everything all goes well. And for today's ceremony, and can't wait to see the photos next week. Unfortunately, I'm not
Yep.
able to attend, but it just we're wishing you all the best, and
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I just one quick thing. We do a little shout out, and I got some text messages. A few weeks ago I put on a picture of one of my old high school teammates, Michael Mandillo, who was just, I talked about he's going through some significant chemotherapy treatments, battling cancer, but there's never been anybody more inspirational and more positive facing adversity than him. And he sent me some text messages and updates this morning. And Michael, you'll
You got this.
always have a special place in my heart and my little brother's heart, because we were teammates at St. Joe's, and it was great. And oh, by the way, so I was at the Don Bosco St. Joe's
Yeah.
game last week. It was kind of a heartbreaker for us.
We have the
We
photos
kinda
for
had the
later.
game.
Yep.
We had the game, and it was very, very exciting. High quality high school football. Unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick and went to overtime, and we will have a picture of a little bit of clip of the winning thing. But it was just a great effort by both teams, and
Yeah.
it could have been, had we pulled that win out, we probably would have been the number one team in New Jersey. But right now, as it stands, Don Bosco is clearly the number one team, having beaten Bergen Catholic already, and that's who St. Joe's plays next week. So, high school football, Eli, I've told guys time and time again, it's just as exciting to watch because it's local. We get an opportunity to see guys that are future NFL players.
No
And
question.
if you saw the size of some of these guys, they are future NFL players. It's
No,
amazing.
I'm sure. Yeah. We have a comment from Andrew before we move on. He says, "Good morning, guys," and agree with Jim regarding the NBA.
Yes, and I thank you, Andrew, and in particular, thank Andrew for his support. And I know Andrew will be there this morning to share. That's that St. Joe's brother that just will never
Never
go
be
away.
forgotten.
And I thank him for his support all along. And I look forward to seeing him, a lot of other team, probably in 40 some odd years. So it's very, very exciting for me. Great day for us.
Absolutely. Well, with that, let's move on to the "What's your recommendation" in the photo segment, sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code to learn more.
Okay,
So
and
what's your
I'm going to give
recommendation?
you my recommendation. Again, it's not food. I've covered books but there is a show on Sunday mornings called CBS Sunday Morning. It's a
Of
long,
course,
long running,
best show on Sundays. Yep.
but it's so informative in so many aspects, and I really enjoy it. And yeah, there's a little bit of CBS News bias at times on some
Yeah.
of the editorials, but the stories are very, very um, relevant, certainly to me growing up in these eras, talking with actors and so forth, and knowledgeable. And here's an example: there was a Robert Allwitz did an episode on crickets, like an animated version. So now, as we in the Northeast start to get into the fall temperatures, I learned that crickets don't cricket when it's below 50 degrees.
Hey, you learned something
And
new.
I've been monitoring it. So that's a fact I wouldn't have learned by watching it, but it's a great show hosted by Jane Pauley, and it's on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. That's my
Well, I
recommendation.
think because Halloween season, I'm gonna go with the Halloween themed, and I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters. I mean, you can't go Halloween without Ghostbusters, and there's so many great songs too for Halloween too. I mean, I was listening to two great ones by Michael Jackson this week. Of course, Thriller by Michael Jackson's an iconic one, and then another one which isn't as popular, but I started listening to it. I'm like, how is this not on the radio every 2 seconds? It's called "Ghost" by Michael Jackson. That was really good too. I started listening to this week, so give that a listen.
All right. Well, my favorite Halloween song, and we're coming up on it, as you said, um, is the Monster
And
Mash.
that was our
How
Instagram.
could
That was our Instagram, our Sports of Mono Instagram. If you don't have it yet, make sure you go on our Instagram and subscribe to it. That was our song for our story this week, our Monster Mash. So be sure to just follow us on Instagram, then you can hear the great songs.
All right. Well, let's take this, and you guys can comment. So, what's the best Halloween candy? And it for
Song.
me,
Oh, Candy's
it
Hershey's.
starts and ends right. Well, Hershey's.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I could go with Hershey's. I gotta say Snickers though, 100% Snickers.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you see, I'm more of a Hershey's guy. I'm not like, I'm not into this, the peanut butter stuff or anything like that. So gotta go Hershey's. Can't go wrong with the Hershey's.
Okay.
Well, let's go to some photos and videos, and then we'll go to some comments.
Yeah. So we talked about the game last week, and if you zoom in and listen, I was rooting for Safe, but I was rooting for a great game, and it was. And you could see the scoreboard ends up Don Bosco 17, St. Joe's 14 in overtime, and I think we have a clip of the game-winning field goal. Nobody.
That's it. Game.
And Jim, of course, at the end with the commentary game. I love that.
And you know what? I was actually standing right behind
The
that
goalpost.
goalpost. The thing almost came. I almost could have caught the winning field goal. So the atmosphere there is great. And like I said, I encourage you to go out and see local high school football.
And I mean, this is not New Jersey, clearly, because they have more beautiful weather than us. That's for sure.
No, it's not. But you know, we always recognize our servicemen and women. And one of my friends is actually over in Normandy
Oh
right now,
wow,
and he took that picture. So that's the beaches of Normandy, and he sent me
wow,
some incredible videos. And you know, the loss of life. You know, if you ever seen Saving Private Ryan, it gives you a picture. But look how beautiful and surreal that is compared to the D-Day invasion, where you know our troops
wow,
were just sitting ducks, and it was amazing. But
wow.
I hope to
Wow.
get there someday and actually walk those beaches. But that was a great picture. Great picture.
Well, thank you for your service, by the way. But
Always,
for the
always.
name, could you repeat the name for everybody, so we could, be sure to give a proper thank you as well.
Yeah. Well, these were the forces that were part
Yeah.
of the invasion of France to basically save World War II, and the
Yeah,
sacrifices that so many of those guys, they didn't even make. Some didn't make it off the boat.
I know.
Some got off the boat and they were just sitting ducks, and it was the ultimate sacrifice. And that's why when we talk about World War II, that was indeed the greatest generation.
Yeah. And we do have a couple comments. Thank you again, as always, for the service. JR says, what do you think about the Jaguars' impressive start to the season?
I know you're a big Jags guy. I still, you know, my feelings. They got some. If Trevor Lawrence can develop, and maybe Travis Hunter becomes the player, a lot of people, yeah, they're on the right track, but consistently do it remains to be seen. Pulling for you though.
I think it's right now a great team. I think they're going to get a lot of wins, but the problem is they're not winning these big matchups. For example, they lost last week Seattle, but they're winning against these quote unquote weaker opponents in the NFL. And that's the key that Jaguars need to fix. If they can win against these bigger opponents, I
Yep.
could say, yeah, that's impressive. They're the real deal. But I think they're playing weaker opponents, and that's what making them a better football team
Yep.
and winning these football teams games.
Okay.
He also adds, there's a
Well,
movie
I
called
went
The
against them this
Fire
week.
Inside. It's pretty good. It's about a boxer named Carissa Shields. Favorite M&M's is his favorite candy as well.
Okay. All right. All right, Eli. We got a couple notable passings here.
All right, here we go. I have three of them. So what do you have?
All right, go ahead. Bring them up.
Guitarist and founding member of Kiss, Ace Frehley, has passed away at the age of 74. He was born in 1951, and it was an iconic uh, member of Kiss. Everybody was heartbroken by this one. And it was a
Yeah.
heartbreaking loss in the music industry for sure.
And I would
And
say
another,
with this, with Kiss though, by the way, they are selling so much merchandise. You could actually buy this coffin, and coffin with a K, for $1,000, and there's a waiting list for it. But a culture perspective, pop culture, music, you can't deny their influence. It was great.
unbelievable. Wow. R&B singer D'Angelo has passed away at the age of 51. He was born in 1974. And lastly, on my list, Oscar-winning
Yeah,
actress Dion Keaton.
and I'm overly familiar with his music. Yeah.
Right. And lastly, our Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton has passed away at the age of 79. She was born in 1946. Jim, you still there? Well, Jim, we may have lost Jim there for a second. Well, we'll hopefully get him back for our
Godfather 1 and 2, and
end of the show.
was
Jim, you still there?
in that way. There was a movie where and they were heartbroken by this. A movie called Baby Boom. Kind of, let's say you can classify it as a chick flick, but my kid said, I'm going to watch Baby Boom tonight because that's how much they love that movie. She's in it. And by the way, that movie was filmed in Peru, Vermont, which is where one of our loyal listeners, Michael Garvey, has his summer home, if you will.
All right.
All
Well,
right, Eli.
we had a great show, and we'll be back, of course, next week at 10 o'clock, our usual time. And we thank you as always for joining us here on Sports with Mono and Mono.
Yes, and of course you can send us emails like Jim Walsh does. And like I said today, I prepare right now for kind of an emotional send off. But anyway, yes, thank you all for your loyal listenership, and we expect to have other guests, loyal listeners, or people from media or whatever. But we're very, very excited in the direction that our show is going, and Eli, you're doing a great job with the production side of things and the social media. But most importantly, thank you to all our fans, and thank you for that you've shown my little brother Stephen, especially today. So can't say enough about. Like I said, we got it after week. Please send us comments, and thank you for commenting on the show. And Eli, you have a great week. I know you guys have a game today, St. Mary's.
No. They played yesterday.
They win?
They lost yesterday. No, they lost. I think they only scored 35-7, I believe was the final. Oh, yeah, they didn't play good at all.
But oops. Okay.
Yep.
We'll be
all
back
right.
here.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Usual
time,
next
10
week,
o'clock.
right?
Yep,
Okay.
10 o'clock.
See ya. Thanks,
All right, take
guys.
care.